The News Day continues here on One News Now Business. I'm Diego Castro. Here are the biggest stories on the economic and corporate fronts. Implementing rules on the Maharlika Investment Fund are out. The IRR takes effect after 15 days, that's on September 12. 125 billion pesos from the National Government, Land Bank, and Development Bank of the Philippines will serve as initial capital for the Maharlika Fund. The state-run banks will need to transfer their share to the National Treasury within 5 days of IRR implementation. The IRR release also opens the floor for nominations and applications for key positions in the MIC. The implementing rules also imposes fines of up to 15 million pesos and imprisonment of up to 20 years for offenses including fraud, graft, and corruption. The Finance Department said their MIF roadshows abroad have been well received and that a lot of foreign institutions are interested in investing in the Philippines. The Philippines and Japan International Cooperation Agency signed a loan deal to strengthen the country's disaster resilience. Finance Chief Ben Jokno signed a deal worth 30 billion yen or around 11.6 billion pesos with JICA Senior Vice President Nakazawa Keiichiro in Tokyo. The agreement covers the third phase of the post-disaster standby loan. In a statement, the Finance Department says the loan seeks to support swift recovery after natural disasters by promoting policy actions on risk reduction and management, as well as strengthening disaster preparedness. GlobalSource Partners sees the Philippines' economic growth further slowing this year and the next. In its report, the think tank cut its GDP growth forecast for the Philippines to 5.2% this year from its previous 5.5% projection. It also slashed its growth forecast for 2024 to 5% from the initial 5.8%. GlobalSource cited strong headwinds affecting the economy's growth pace. These include elevated inflation, constrained monetary policy space, and tight global financial conditions. The think tank also points to waning revenge spending as well as the unmet expectation of the swift recovery of China's tourism. We'll be back with more stories after the break. Keep it here on One News. You're still watching One News Now. I'm Diego Castro. Motorcycle riders and cyclists have agreed that they should not be sharing a lane along EDSA. During a meeting with the MMDA, motorcycle and bicycle riders groups voiced their opposition against this proposal, citing concerns on road safety. This sends the MMDA back to the drawing board to come up with other possible solutions. The MMDA says the challenge now is deciding where the separate bike and motorcycle lanes will be placed.
As we speak, alam naman natin at nakikita nyo naman siguro yan sa ating karsada na maraming motorsiklo at four wheels ang pumapasok doon sa exclusive bike lane na pag pinaghigpitan natin, kami pa ang kinikriticize.
How can we encourage people to ride our bicycles if they feel that they are still not safe inside the bicycle lane? if people see the infrastructure, I can assure you, people will develop confidence to use bicycles.
For now, the policy stands that motorcycles are not allowed to use the bike lane. Violators, though, will not be ticketed while consultations are ongoing. To give us his take on that report, we have Motorcycle Rights Organization Chairman Jobert Bolanos live via Zoom. Good morning, Sir Jobert. Thank you very much for joining us.
Good morning.
Yes, Sir Jobert, let's get right to it. You previously suggested shared lanes, or at least, at the very least, window hours for motorcycle riders. What's your reaction to groups rejecting the proposal?
Well, initially we were talking about shared lanes, but it was not a good idea to share it with the bicycles, mainly because motorized versus unmotorized, there's a huge speed difference and it affects safety.
Okay.
So, being the most vulnerable on the street, the cyclists and the pedestrians need to be protected at all times. So they deserve to have that lane for themselves, since it's already a law. During the pandemic, government enacted a law promoting the bike lanes and promoting bicycle use.
Yes.
So what we're talking about right now is having motorcycles share the lane with the other vehicles instead of putting up motorcycle lanes, which are not exclusive.
Yes.
So what's happening here is we are not looking at the priority, which is who moves more people on, for example, on EDSA, who moves more people than any other vehicle. And based on the data that MMDA reported yesterday, motorcycles actually move more people and more goods because of the sheer number that passes through the road. Unlike cars that have only one or two passengers, and the space that they take up and the speed that they traverse, especially during rush hour.
Okay, but has your group been consulted, or have they coordinated with you? And do you have word if you'll be part of future consultations to try to address this problem?
Yes, we are very happy that we were part of yesterday's hearing, and the chairman of MMDA assured us that moving forward, we will always be part of consultations because we've been addressing the issues, especially on the motorcycle lane, which is very much, we're against it. But then again, the underutilization of the bicycle lane is also a major concern, because if we look at the economy side of things, we're losing trillions of pesos on a daily basis.
That's right.
Just because of traffic.
But where do you think motorcycle lanes should be placed if the MMDA will have to create a new one, given that traffic is really getting worse by the day?
Well, here's the reality of things. Even DPWH says that the infrastructure does not support motorcycle lane. However, what we are trying to push for now is that the lanes occupied by the other vehicles, the four-wheeled vehicles, should be shared with the motorcycle rather than the motorcycles sharing it with the bicycles, because they have a 1.4 to 1.6 meter width. Unlike on the car side, we have to look at the numbers. We have to look at the volume of vehicles, which moves more people, which moves more goods. So the priorities should be set on that data alone.
Well, speaking of traffic, what do you think are alternative ways to, ease traffic across EDSA in Metro Manila? You said that a lot of goods need to be transported across. A lot of people need to get to their jobs earlier, otherwise we lose money by the day.
Yeah. Well, one of the things why people move to Manila is because of the higher pay that they have, or that we get from jobs here in Manila. That's because of the provincial rate. So that's the reason why we're suffering from so much congestion, overpopulation. Everybody's cramming into Metro Manila.
That's right.
And one of the ways to solve that is to get rid of the provincial rate, so that jobs in the provinces will also offer the same rate. So people will think twice whether to move to Manila or to stay where they are. That's one way of easing traffic. The other one is, well, right now it's very hard to do because of how tight Metro Manila is already. It's actually in reality it's already too late for urban planning. What we need are extreme measures like skyways and stuff. But we all know how long that takes and how much suffering that will cause the motorists, and not just the motorists, but also the commuters. So right now, we just need to find a way to ease the congestion by finding ways to move people out of Metro Manila. But the only way that will happen is if they have the same pay grade outside of Metro Manila than in Metro Manila.
Yeah, that's right. And aside from that, they have the connecting transportation, like future railways that will connect us. Like, for example, I think we tried this with Clark by putting up government offices, and it still did not work. But let's go back, sir, to motorcycles. So for now, the policy still stands that motorcycles are not allowed in the bike lane. But the MMDA has said violators will not be ticketed while consultations are ongoing. Is this felt on the ground, sir? Do the riders know about this? Are you receiving reports of riders still being penalized?
Well, we're hoping that the media presence, including One News, could help us in informing people that right now we have to follow what the law says. Duralex, Sedlex, the law may be harsh, but it is the law. And we don't want to reach a point where MMDA has to start penalizing us. But we have to show that we also have the capacity to follow rules and regulations. So for now, MMDA agreed that while we are looking for a solution to ease the traffic and to address the volume of vehicles, particularly the volume of motorcycles on the road, until then, no apprehensions will happen. But I urge the riding public to keep away or stay away and let the bicycles ride in peace and safety.
Well, thank you for your insights. Unfortunately, sir, that's all the time we have. That was Motorcycle Rights Organization Chairman Jobert Bolanos. Thank you again.
Thank you.
And those are the top business stories of the hour. I'm Diego Castro. Join us again at 2 p.m. We are One News, all sides, all the time.